What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So the giveaway ended last night and the email's been sent out, so check your emails, see if you won, and get back to me if you can as soon as you can so we can get that sent out to you, the $100 gift card. We're going to start the next giveaway tomorrow during the Saturday show, so if you want to check that out, just tune in tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll have that all set up for you guys. Today, though, we have some fun stuff to go over. Nintendo did some more announcements for their mobile side of their business, which a lot of us are figuring that mobile games might end up being kind of the replacement for like what the 3DS is right now, at least that lineup. And they introduced one game, then they also delayed another we have to go over. But they did also talk about a game that fans are going to be kind of excited about. There's some mystery there. We're gonna talk about the time frame for that one. And then, of course, EA. Well, EA's got to be EA, and they want to tell us about when we're going to be able to play Anthem, and they had to show us a spreadsheet to do it. Yeah, it's one of those. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, with the like button, it does help out. We're actually going to start today with Darksiders War Master Edition, because wouldn't you know it, yesterday morning, after that video went up, press release shows up in my inbox, and boom, they get the announcement out there. So yes, it was one of those things where the news wave went up, and then like an hour or two later, it gets announced. It is coming to the Switch April 2nd, and they didn't really have anything else to say about the other Darksiders, although when you figure on Twitter, they did kind of tease the second one at least, and I would expect the first one and then the second one to show up. I think that makes sense. The third one is the one I'm kind of iffy and not sure about. If they're going to be moving that over soon, that could be something they move over down the road. But the first one and then the second one will probably show up, I would assume, within months of each other. So there you go. Cool to see, especially if you're a Darksiders fan and maybe you want to play it again on the Switch or just see how it plays and everything there. You can look forward to that one April 2nd. We also had more information given to us about Nintendo's online paid service. Remember, they flipped the switch and all of a sudden it became paid last year, and we were kind of curious how that would affect the online. We know, of course, that over 32 million Switch systems have shipped, and it appears that about 30 million or so, they actually told us that it's actually sold through to customers. So at that point, we figured, I wonder how many people have actually bought into that service for $20 a year. Well, Nintendo actually decided to tell us, and it's about 8 million at least. It's probably a little over that even, and they just kind of rounded down to 8 million. They did tell investors during their briefing and kind of their Q&A that it was 8 million people have actually subscribed to the service, and that's all paid ones, not just like free ones or ones that I guess have did the trial or anything. No, they just counted straight up paid. You've already entered your credit card and you've actually paid them money for it. 8 million. And I'm not sure how to look at that as being great or not, because of course this is a service that's going to grow over time. And I guess 8 million right away isn't bad, especially with an install base of about 30 million that have actually sold through to consumers, and of course 32 that they've shipped. So it's going to really come down to how much does it grow or shrink, I guess, as we get further and further in. But they also talked about trying to bolster the lineup for the online service and possibly introducing a more expensive one that's gaming enthusiast, or they need to get more clear with that if that's going to be a thing. I think if they continue to add to it and kind of, I guess, bolster this Nintendo online service, it could do much better. And we've talked about Final Fantasy VIII a couple times, how it has not had a remaster. It's been pushed over to Steam, but it's not part of that big initiative to bring Final Fantasy games, older ones, over to the other systems with like the Xbox and the Switch, for example. Well, a couple modders are actually taking matters in their own hands and using kind of the AI technology we talked about before that is allowing older games to look better on newer hardware and newer monitors by kind of smoothing out the visuals through artificial intelligence. And this is actually really neat. You're going to see some of the backgrounds here. It's still a work in progress. They're saying it's in a beta stage, but this is actually created by modder BlipPip, and it's a graphical update mod for the Final Fantasy VIII games, specifically targeting the background files for now. I don't know if they'll work to target any of the sprite work currently, but they are mostly working to make the backgrounds, which looked great back in the PS1 days on our CRTs, translate a bit better over to your monitors, whether it's a high definition display that you're playing on with Steam, for example. So cool stuff there. It is a work in progress, but they are looking for feedback. So if you check the link in the sources, you can try it out yourself and let them know what you think. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way. Let's get into the bigger stuff. We're going to start with Anthem and EA. Now, I want to say one thing about Anthem. BioWare can still make a good game because Anthem has actually controlled pretty well. It's fun, but of course the EA name is attached to it, so we assume microtransactions like crazy, and it seems like we're going that route. And we'll see about any kind of DLC or season pass. I think they're going to stick with it being a live service with free content that gets added, and then you get different microtransactions to buy if you'd like. We'll see what the grind's like as well for that. But one thing that we can always count on with EA, because we saw it with Battlefield 5, which, by the way, Battlefield 5 was the first Battlefield to miss the NPD's top 10 for the past year in a decade. Yeah, it's the previous worst performing one in the NPDs was actually number 10 in its year in 2015, and that was Battlefield Hardline. So Battlefield 5 performed worse at retail in NPDs than Battlefield Hardline. So what does EA do? They decide to do the same exact thing with release, and they introduce a literal chart so that we know when we can play the game. I'm not kidding, here's the chart, and this is something else to see this, because I'm not surprised. Again, Battlefield 5 had this, and we made fun of it then. So here with Anthem, and I guess we'll make fun of it again here, but again, a chart. You can see we have the standard pre-order. Of course, that's the game if you just decide to pre-order just the game, standard straight-up pre-order. You'll have demo access on February 1st, and you'll have the full game on February 22nd. I want to stress here, the game is ready February 15th, because if you do Origin Access Premier, which is of course their big Premier subscription service on PC, you can play the game February 15th. This is something that these companies, even outside of EA, Microsoft did it with something like Forza, for example. Before, this is something they're doing, where they are giving early access for more expensive versions or subscriptions. EA just does these really weird charts that are all over the place. For example, you can play the first 10 hours for a trial on February 15th if you have EA Access on the Xbox One or Origin Access Basic on PC. And this is so weird. It's not great for Anthem because these staggered releases actually affect the game more than you would think when they come out. And I feel like EA would have reflected more on Battlefield 5 and just the dreadful sales numbers compared to other Battlefield games in the series. It's weird. I just don't understand what EA's thing is. I guess they're expecting more people to have to sign up on PC, by the way. That's who they want, are the PC people to sign up for these. So there you go. People on PC are going to apparently sign up for this Premier subscription service, and then they'll get access early for more money, I guess. But it's just a tactic to get you to sign up, or in other games cases, to get you to pay more money. The game's already ready, so technically it could release February 15th if they want, but they're going to push it to the 22nd so that you have to sign up for the subscription service. So far, from what I've learned, yes, BioWare can still make a good game, and EA can still botch that launch. Next up, let's talk about Nintendo's mobile games, because they did announce that Mario Kart Tour, which was going to be their Mario Kart mobile entry, it's actually being pushed to summer, is what they're saying, 2019. They cited reasons of quality and trying to make the game very good when it comes out initially, rather than put a mobile game out that doesn't have a lot to it, I guess, or it's not up to their quality standards, and then add stuff to it as they go, which is what mobile games tend to do. They do, of course, continue forward, and they just get more and more content. They rely on microtransactions as a freemium style game. So I guess they just want to have a better launch for it. And then they also announced a new game, which kind of makes sense, I guess, if you look at it. It's Dr. Mario World. Yeah, they actually put out kind of a little teaser image for it here. And what's interesting about this is they're actually using a whole nother company. Line Corporation, I guess. Line Corp is who they're using. And they're best known for a messaging app and a few other games that they've done. So they did what? They worked with Dina and a few others, and then they're also working now with Line. It seems like they're just kind of going around getting other mobile developers together and maybe seeing which company can do it best, or because so many of these are going to be ongoing services, maybe they're thinking we'll just get a developer for each one and they can continue to develop for it as a live service and it just continues to make money. Kind of like Fire Emblem, which continues to make a lot of money in Japan for them. Super Mario Run is a game that you buy once and that's it. So it has a very linear path as people buy it, and then it starts to slow down in sales like any other game that you usually buy that doesn't have all the live services and stuff. The other ones being free rather than upfront payment, of course, will continue on. So they'll need to keep development companies around to help work on it and add new stuff. That's, I think, why they're doing this, where they're going with several different developers for each mobile game, just to make sure they're all free to work on like that one mobile game. We might see them, these mobile developers, maybe grow and take on other projects depending on how their work is. So I'm sure they're all jumping at the idea to be able to use a Nintendo IP like a Dr. Mario or a Mario Kart, for example. So we'll see what happens with this one. I do like the idea of Dr. Mario being a mobile game because it's not like a complex game or anything. It's a pretty simple game. I'm sure it'll have the whole thing where it's free and microtransactions and all that stuff. That's kind of the environment that the mobile scene has. So it's almost like it was weird when Super Mario Run showed up and it was just a straight up payment. It was weird to people. They were like, $10 is a lot, but you'll probably spend $50 in microtransactions over the next month or two, the way the mobile market works. But that's what they want, I guess. Next up, if you are an older gamer, someone who's been playing since like the NES, I guess you could even go up to the PlayStation 1 days and the PS2 because Silent Hill was pretty good then as well, obviously. People loved some of the Silent Hill games then. You may want to look away because what I'm about to show you is Konami's roadmap for 2019. Get ready for this one. Here we go. Right from the top, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Castlevania Grimoire of Souls, Dankira, Love Plus, Every, Hyper Sports R. But if you look on the right, you're going to see that several of these have nothing to do with consoles minus Hyper Sports R, which is on the Switch. That's right, these are all either amusement or casino machines, or they are literally just for cell phones. Yes, that is where we are with Konami. And what's really fascinating about Konami is they're actually making money now, which it seems that the casino gaming section is actually doing pretty well, to be honest. It's actually up 14% year over year, and their digital entertainment revenue is up 18% year over year with full profit. So they're doing well, but this tells me that Konami doesn't really care about gaming consoles or any of that anymore. They like their mobile games and they like their casino and pachinko machines and all of that. It's kind of sad. It's a Konami fault at this point. They don't really care. Like, they have Metal Gear, and I don't think they care to do much with it because they see Metal Gear as being still attached to Kojima. So it's tough to see this, right? We saw Metal Gear Solid 3 turn into like a pachinko machine or whatnot. Like they don't really care anymore. They're just using the IPs, obviously, at this point to just make just straight up money any way they can, even with like gambling and stuff. So it's tough. If you're a longtime Konami fan of their older games or just the brand before they became what they are now, I kind of feel for you because this is, it's a shame. Then our last bit of news, let's talk about Nintendo teasing a project seemingly for next fiscal year. So after April starts, basically, for 2019. I actually am wondering if they have anything outside of Yoshi for the rest of this fiscal year, so February and March, basically. I feel like they should drop one other thing in there just to have it. Anyway, this was actually put out a tweet that you're seeing here. This is from Takashi Machizuki, where he says, Nintendo said it is preparing at least one unannounced title for Switch in fiscal year 19, so it's April onward, that fans would be delighted to know. And then he asks, what would that be? And this is, of course, them talking at their investors briefing, answering questions and everything. And Nintendo's job is to kind of hype up investors, give them an outlook as to what's coming up. And if they do have like a unannounced project like this, just to get them thinking about it, right? Because they want investors to at least be happy and have something to look forward to. And I'm sure investors are asking a lot of questions like, what's coming up outside of Yoshi, right? Like, what happened to Daemon X Machina? Because that's kind of, it's fallen off a bit with no release date for that, right? Animal Crossing, no release date. It's you keep it on the line, of course. Bayonetta 3, who knows? But that's the thing. They want to know more, and Nintendo isn't quite ready to tell them more, but an unannounced game that's going to fall into next fiscal year that we would be very happy about. Well, we have those rumors about a 2D Zelda game possibly showing up. It could be anything. We hear about that supposed Star Fox Racer from Retro that Eurogamer talked about last year as well. There's a lot of stuff that could show up. It could be something we're not even thinking about. So, why don't you guys let me know down below, what would Nintendo be talking about that would really make fans excited and happy? I mean, their lineup now is already looking good, and if they can drop possibly a Star Fox and a Zelda in there, that would be a pretty solid year, of course, with Animal Crossing and the new Pokemon, and I assume Daemon X Machina and maybe Shin Megami Tensei in there. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to, and if they have some of these bigger games to drop, it'd be an interesting 2019, especially if they really do have a cheaper Switch revision planned. Things get interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today. Whether it is that unannounced game from Nintendo, let me know what you think about that. Or you maybe want to tell me about Anthem's weird chart that they have to have so that you know when you can start playing the game or which version you have to buy where, with what subscription model so that you can play when. It's a whole thing. I mean, there used to be a day where you just walk in, you buy the game, and you leave. And maybe that's what we should be going back to. But these live services, this is what we get. You know, that's the way it is. Let me know what you think about that below. Maybe you think it's fine and you're ready to start playing February 15th, and that's fine too. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.